Listen.
If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Now, sometimes people say, well, you mean everything that I understand will confuse me if I don't understand racism? Yes, because racism is the dominant political and religious motivating force among the people of the planet in all 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. That covers just about everything that any person, minute by minute, might be doing or engaged in any time of day or night, anywhere on the planet. We have to understand that just like it's put together, we can take it apart. But you have to know how it's put together. Like I said, we got to stop studying each other. We're not going to learn anything doing that because we're just prisoners of war. What you going to learn from a fellow prisoner? You're certainly not going to learn how to get out of prison because none of us are out of prison. So there's nothing to learn there. You have to study the people that have put you in prison and how they operate, how all of this came about, and how they function now in all 9 areas of activity. Spare none. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. How they manipulate black people, people of color, all over the world, every minute of the day, in all of these areas of activity, in everything that we do, manipulating us sexually, playing games with us sexually, 24/7, and they're really amping that one up in order to do what? Cause more what? Confusion. All right? Confusion in labor laws, confusion in the education system. I was looking at the Little Rock Nine, which has really started me thinking seriously about the race problem back in the 1950s. I was overseas when I was hearing about the Little Rock Nine. Recently, they have been talking about it, the Little Rock Nine. That's what really started me down the road of really thinking in depth. I read Richard Wright and all that, and books by James Baldwin later on, and going back to E. Franklin Frazier and whatnot. I read a lot of books, and I thought seriously about it while I was reading, but then when I put the book down, I kind of just lay it aside and say, oh, well, been there, done that. But I started thinking every day after the Little Rock Nine about race and how it dominated. I was in Japan at the time, and how it dominated everything, everywhere, the system of white supremacy. I just didn't recognize things. I started seeing things and paying attention to things that I hadn't paid attention to before. Okay? I was like most black people, just paying attention to other black people. All right? And how I could do something to impress them one way or another. At that age, trying to impress the girls, all right, which is natural, all right? But that's my whole world, all right? I'm in the military. I want to go on leave. I mean, so, hey, girls. I mean, or something associated with girls or other black people partying. See what I mean? And that's what we are when we get to be 50 years old now. Hey, we got a party. Going to have a party. All right. And the white supremacists say, yeah, we'll provide you with plenty of space to have your party. Let the Negro with the banjo and all y'all go down by the riverside and have a party. And just make sure that you're back on this job doing what I tell you to do forever. You prisoners of war. Because we have been trained, carefully trained, long before we were born. Because they trained our ancestors. We can't say that they solved the problem. They didn't know what hit them. They didn't understand racism. If they understood it, we wouldn't be in the shape we're in. So this thing about our elders, get rid of that. I want to say that right now. I'm an elder. But what do I know about racism? Nothing. All right? You might say, well, Fuller, you know something and whatnot. I don't know enough to know how to overcome it. I'm trying to find that out. This is 2017. I'm 88 years old. I'm trying to figure out what to do about racism. That is pitiful. That's not remarkable. That's pitiful. When we should have wrapped this thing up about 5 minutes after it got started in the first place thousands of years ago. We should have nipped that in the bud. But you know why we didn't? We weren't smart enough to do it. So I don't want to hear any more about this ancestor stuff and what we built 2,000 years ago. What we didn't do is figure out how not to be subject to the system of white supremacy. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the only thing that counts right now, right this minute. So stop bragging about anything. I always say that one thing we can stop doing, and it's a part of the code, stop celebrating anything. One of the ugliest things you ever want to see in your life is a black person celebrate. Now, some people have said they've seen some cartoons of my work on the internet that have been presented, and that it pretty well embellishes what I have been trying to say in my textbooks. And to the extent that it does that, well, that has been, from what I understand, some people reported to me, a plus. Because they didn't understand what I had written very well, but when they saw those cartoons that just repeated what I was saying and attaching my name to it, and came right out of the book, the material did, they say that they better understood it. And I can understand that because people are kind of visual, particularly in the year 2021 now, more visual than ever.